What made you think it was okay to do that? I don't even know where I was going with all of this. Yeah, but have you heard Billie Jean? Like, there's a time and a place to have fun, and that is now and here. This is our third attempt. We won't get into the technical difficulties as much as we usually love to.
Remember when I just said I didn't want to start this episode with tech difficulties?
Well, here we are. It's a pattern of ours and our audience loves it. But what I was saying was, at the end of the last episode, there was something that you asked to talk about, and I shut you down completely.
Are you going to tell us?
Do you remember what it was?
No, but I'm excited.
No? So to our podcast audience, this will have been most likely last week's episode, maybe 2 weeks ago. Who knows at this point? But you wanted to talk about the Louis C.K. special.
You wanted to, and I wanted to remind you to talk about it because you wanted to talk about it, but then we didn't have time.
And I said, nah.
But now you will?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can discuss. I mean, I've watched it again since we watched it together.
Okay, so you can regale me with stories that will incite my memory because I'm a little fuzzier.
Well, it was just everything about it. It was...
He didn't pull a single punch, man.
He really didn't.
I wondered if he was going to be swinging, and woo! I think he might have thrown his shoulder out swinging.
The thing is, he just attacks everybody, including himself, but it's in that kind of new comedy way where you're still on his side, even though he's saying these things that you would never say at a dinner party. And if someone said them at a dinner party, you would...
not associate with that person?
Exactly. You would think they're an asshole by default. I really hope that was after a minute.
It looks like we're good.
All right,
that was
we're
about
chilling.
a minute 20.
Perfect. We're going to make so much bank off this now. But yeah, I was listening to Eric Weinstein's podcast, and he was saying how...
The Portal?
Yeah, The Portal. And he was saying how he thinks that right now in comedy, or maybe sometime in like the mid to late 2000s, comedians flipped a switch and kind of figured out how to say these incredibly offensive things and still be incredibly likable, not just like play the asshole on stage.
Like Dice.
Yeah, like Dice or something like that, exactly.
Or
and
Bill Hicks, or just kind of always was the deranged, crazy yelling guy.
Yeah, exactly. He wasn't a guy that like you wanted to like kind of chill with. Like he seemed so intense, but like now they're just like they figured out a way to like be able to say incredibly profane things and still have a absolutely valid message buried in it.
Rogan, Burt, Dahlia, Segura, and Louis C.K. in particular.
Yeah.
Burt is a lot of stories about himself.
That's
I don't know
true.
That
his
that
stuff,
much.
A lot of his stuff is just pretty silly. But yeah, all those other guys.
There's definitely a core squad, and there's a bunch that I'm missing. Mark Maron, for sure.
Yep.
Mark Normand?
Yeah, I love Mark Normand.
I know you do.
Oh my god, I think he is so...
handsome?
G-dang funny, dude. He's such a little weirdo, too. That's the thing. Like, you listen to him conversation...
Seems like a goofball. Yeah,
and
I love his vocal mannerisms.
Yeah, exactly. He kind of always, like, talks like he's delivering a nervous punchline. Yeah. But yeah.
So, Louis C.K., what were your takes the second time that you didn't have the first? Any jokes you caught, or like messages, different vibe you picked up?
It has been a couple weeks now, so I am still fuzzy on it again.
Can't do homework in school or out of it.
Yeah, no, seriously. I'm trash at homework. But, yeah, I don't know. Do I have any new thoughts on it? I pretty much I thought it was still like amazing and hilarious and like especially...
That might have been the funniest Louis C.K. special I've seen.
Yeah, probably. Dude, I mean, Louis is just like my favorite comedian.
Nihilist.
Like, and like as much as it like sucks with everything that he went through, or everything that like kind of happened with him in the public sphere and all that, like, man,
he turned it into some fuel.
He's just a funny guy. Like, even maybe he isn't a good dude, you know? Like, you hear that sometimes, like, even aside from this stuff, some people in the business just think he's an asshole, but it's like, man, he's so damn talented. Like, come on.
There are some really, really funny people, both likable and not, but you gotta give them that they're funny.
It's that
and Louis so that's the funniest thing, the social justice outrage when he did his stuff, or when it came to light that he did whatever he did.
Mm-hmm.
Was it's not funny. It's not, his material's not funny at all. Like, well, that's just not true.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same
It's
thing.
pretty funny.
It's that Dave Chappelle bit about like, so how many of you like feel like you can't listen to R. Kelly's music anymore, and everyone like claps and applause, like, yeah, like I feel like whatever. It's like, all right, now how about Michael Jackson? Very few people. Like, it is pretty much silent. It's like, yeah, I don't. It's that whole separating the art from the artist thing.
To say. I think, not that I cared for R. Kelly's music beforehand, so it doesn't change my way of life at all.
Dude, I'm still about to like
when
bust it down to Ignition Remix.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I hear Thriller, I'm still like, damn, that's a good song.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta respect that. I mean, hey, maybe one way to think of it is that all of that negativity and suffering and all of that bad stuff that came with the tortured personalities of some of these artists definitely played a role in shaping their psyche and helping to influence the music that they created.
Yeah.
Like, would Elvis have been Elvis if he wasn't banging his 15-year-old cousin or whatever Elvis did?
Did he do that?
It's something like that. Definitely an underage marriage in there. There's a lot of weird stuff like that. And, if nothing else, maybe there's a case to be made for it being a sign of respect for what some of those victims went through, that in a way they contributed to the music. Can you appreciate the music and accept it as like a solemn... I don't know. I'm trying to play out this train of thought.
I see what you're saying, but I can't imagine ever saying this to a victim.
No, I don't think so.
Anything but cold comfort.
As I was trying to deliver it, I'm like, these aren't the words that would make this a pretty package.
Like, you're talking to these kids and you're like, yeah, but have you heard Billie Jean? Like,
that was you. You were
part of history, kid. Like,
well, then you hear the comedians that make jokes like, if you're gonna get diddled, would Bill Cosby be the worst person to do it? You're like, you stick the finger in the pudding pop.
What's that Bill Burr bit where he's like talking to his wife?
Alliteration.
Where he's talking to his wife about how, like, yes, of course, like, the reason that there's more like white scientists and like kids going to college and stuff is because like black people were oppressed like all this time, like, and of course they should have been right there with us. It should have been equal the entire time, and it's terrible that it wasn't. But you can't have that and their music. It's like, you gotta pick one or the other. Like, you don't see all these like white people out here making amazing music and revolutionizing music all the time. Because they've lived like privileged lives that they didn't have to.
That's straight facts.
Yeah, and it's like, you're not wrong, but it's still just like a terrible thing to say.
Kind of a similar concept, yeah. Like, it's terrible that those things happen, but now that you cannot go back and change it and unmolest the kids Michael Jackson was friends with, or whatever the true case may be, is it not better to still appreciate the art aside from the artist?
Yeah, the thing is, too, it's extra strange when the artist is already passed.
Yeah, it's not like they're benefiting from it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like they can like see their day in court about it either. So it's like there is no retribution really, like, other than the fact that like these people who were affected become somewhat of like a national spectacle, and like maybe they didn't even want all that attention, but their conscience was just so overwhelmed, and like maybe they get a settlement, whatever, and maybe that's what they're looking at, like going after. But I don't even know where I was going with all of this.
It's a rough situation.
I guess just exploring the situation, yeah.
Not to say that Louis C.K. has ever diddled a kid.
I
don't think that was in his list of cancellation rap sheet.
No, but yeah, what I was just saying was that it's crazy when the difference when they're dead is like, do you think if Michael Jackson were still alive and this stuff were coming out, that
he and Weinstein would be cellmates?
Well, that people would be more offended and affected by it, and more people would refuse to listen to his music if he was alive. But since he's already dead, they're like, they kind of rationalize like, oh, what's the harm?
Yes, but also everything tends to intensify, especially nowadays. I bet there would be a small but very vocal minority that if he were still alive would be championing for him really hard.
Yeah, you think so?
And for his music. Larger for the music, but also for him. I bet that there
Possibly.
would be
Do you
very.
see that with a lot of celebrities now? Because I feel like you don't.
I don't follow much celebrity drama at all. I don't even,
Hmm.
aside from like the top ones that make the New York Times briefing, I don't know what crimes are going on in there.
Yeah.
So I can't think of a corollary situation.
So the thing is, I think most people are about there too. Like you hear about these things sometimes, kinda, but what happens is like the whatever movement it is at that season will attack some celebrity, and then there will be plenty of people who come to defend them. But most people, I think, are not very like abreast of it, and all they've like heard is that there's controversy around this person, and
That
then they
they
think,
like.
yeah, or who they like, don't like, whatever. And once there's like a controversy, it's just that person is done.
No, I still think there will be people swinging hard. There are people that are like, free Joe Exotic right now, for sure.
Yeah,
There are groupies for everyone on every side of it. There were people that are still chanting in like the Bundy documentaries, like, let him go, he didn't
yeah.
do it. There's always people that fantasize on that side of things.
So that's what I'm saying. There will be people who defend them, but it will almost always be a minority because most people will not be defending or attacking them, but will instead just kind of apathetically be avoiding them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think I said from the start it would be a minority, but I bet it would be louder than what you hear today.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, I think both sides would intensify if he was alive. I don't think it would be a more.
But wasn't this always kind
Decisive
of a known
shift.
thing about him? Like I
Yeah,
feel like
kinda.
I heard
I heard rumors about that
I
when I
heard
was in
jokes
middle
about
school.
it when I was like elementary school. I feel like
Yeah. I don't want to construct a memory and think of the joke, but
yeah.
for sure it was not something I was unaware of.
So how did it just become a big deal recently?
Well, I think that there were more documentaries and things that came out in the last couple years,
Hmm.
like 2 or 3 years. But what might have happened was there was initial court drama and everything else, and what
Yeah.
was in the news, either through kids reading just a headline or hearing just a snippet,
Yeah.
became kids passing around like, oh yeah, and it becomes, a pop culture thing.
Yeah.
And even as the real case subsides and more proof doesn't come up until later documentaries, that's now in the zeitgeist as like, haha.
I guess that one was real.
Yeah, for sure. That was just like a rumor that spread and happened to be spot on.
Yeah.
Have you
Very
seen
rare.
the documentaries on him? Because I have not.
No, I don't care enough. I'll be honest.
That's fair.
Like, oh yeah, Mike Jackson touched kids. Like, I think we
And
all,
Mike Vick fought dogs, but like greats will be
exactly.
greats.
Yeah. You got to find your heroes somehow.
Usually in a penitentiary.
Yeah, exactly.
Johnny
Jeez.
Cash.
This coughing is gonna be great. Might have to cut it out.
Oh boy, Rona. Wee woo, wee woo.
No, just a phlegmy ass throat.
Ew.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, my work from home has been extended until July 13th. And
July, man.
9 more weeks. I have a friend who's got through August 1st already with her job.
August 1st.
Yeah.
For the folks at home, what's the date today?
May 2nd.
Damn.
May
Really.
the 2nd be with you.
I hated that. And so, but yeah, seriously, damn, July, August.
Yeah.
Are you, how do you feel about that?
It is so fine. Have
Oh,
you seen
yeah?
how stocked my fridge is?
That's true, you love it.
I am loving it.
You excel.
I'm absolutely thriving. Playing through a bunch of video games, making progress on essays,
Yeah.
practicing ukulele. I'm
Exercising.
loving it.
I just bought some resistance bands and a yoga mat on Amazon.
Attaboy!
Yeah, so hopefully I actually use them.
Oh, for sure. Keep them hanging up all the time.
Yeah.
You'll
as
be
a
like, oh,
constant
I could get
reminder.
yoked right now.
I miss the gym so much, man. I really miss the gym.
Carter calling and giving us lifting updates doesn't make it up for you.
No, not quite.
Dude,
Hearing
you guys
about
want to hear how much weight I lifted today? More than anything.
Yeah, but it added such like a structure to my non-work life, and I just love the people that I saw there, and I constantly felt like I was making progress, and then it just fell out from under me, and now I'm back to my summer unemployed, living at parents' house habits of not exercising except for maybe like once, maybe twice a week. It's not good for me.
You going on a run? You doing calisthenics?
Yeah, run pretty much every time.
That's definitely how you get gains.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not even worried about gains. I'm just worried about not becoming a piece of shit, basically.
It's almost the beach season, bruh.
Yeah, exactly. If we get a beach season.
Well, California and Florida are having issues with that. People are like, open up these goddamn beaches right now. I swear
Yeah,
to God.
it's way of life over there and over there.
Have you seen, is it Michigan where there's all the armed protesters inside the state legislative house?
No, I have not seen that. The riots were bound to start at some time.
Yeah, there are people with automatic rifles and camouflage clothing and masks, of course, because it's a pandemic, occupying, apparently legally protesting with their firearms this lockdown.
Wow.
It is a scene out of, I don't know, The Purge, some crazy movie when you see the pictures of them like they're in the government building
Yeah.
looking like a militia. It is so crazy.
Oh my goodness. So where do they hope to get with this? Just intimidate until
Unlock
they
the
get what
state.
they want? Like, but what's their plan? Do they just stand around with guns?
I think so. They're
Have they
protesting.
actually threatened anybody?
No, because then there would be like military action. I read that it was legal protest, even though they were armed. So I guess they're just
Wow.
there occupying it.
Yeah, with
Firearms.
licensed gun holders. Gun
Woo-hoo!
owners.
I don't want to be that governor.
Yeah, seriously, that is a scary sight. Just seeing that outside your office every day.
Yeah, right? Hey, Jim, how's it going? Good. You gonna open this up yet?
Yeah,
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
especially because it's like, I mean, how much of the town wants to be reopened? Is it?
I don't know.
wonder. Yeah,
There are definitely some more conservative voting counties in the country that are pushing for it.
yeah. I don't. I feel like there would be some sort of happy medium that might be impossible to figure out in a short time frame, where you can open up businesses, like if people get like antibody tests or whatever, or are not high risk, they can be allowed to go out like it's flu season.
Yeah, but you know how
And
you track
then-
that? Probably with a chip or a phone app, which
Yeah.
everybody's freaking out about the idea
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
How do you prove that you've had the test and you're negative if it's not being tracked on your person?
Yeah, check my papers.
Literally,
Officer.
papers, please.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are very worried about that.
Yeah, and I don't think that that's actually like implementable at all is the problem.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
It
feel
seems
like
to be something that's
it's
being seriously kicked around the table.
it's just too loose of rules, and people are just going to get sick, and exactly what we don't want to happen is just going to happen.
The second wave.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently, that was the huge deal in 1918.
Yeah.
Did you hear that on the Rogan podcast? That
I heard that
they
just
finished the
talked about.
war of 1918 or whatever, not Spanish American, that was earlier. I don't know. World War I was 1919. I thought it ended.
Sounds a bit, yeah.
So it
sounds
might have
right.
been then when everyone was like out in the streets and like happy and celebrating the end of the war. But
Mhm.
because everyone broke the quarantine and was out celebrating, the virus started up again
Yeah.
and apparently killed more people than had died in the war.
Oh, God.
Imagine that. If we're like,
Yeah.
we want our states open, and then suddenly we go from 1 million US cases to 10 million.
Yeah, we don't even have winning a war as an excuse.
Yeah, right?
Like I was like, if that was me, I'd be like one of those college kids on spring break. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, this thing sucks, but there's a time and a place to have fun, and that is now and here.
Those kids just wanted to fuck, man.
Dude, that's the thing. Like,
They're
I
18,
also
they're
saw that
19, they're
and was
drunk on a
like-
beach in Cayman Islands. What
like
are they going to
that's
do?
so dumb, but I probably would have done the same thing if I were them. Like, in that situation.
There's a good chance
Yeah,
we
I
might
get
have
on
been
that
those
plane.
idiots.
Yeah.
If it was all booked, I can't get the money back early in those
Yeah,
days.
exactly.
Like,
Spring break like drained my bank account pretty much before I even got there. So
you would have had to go. You
Yeah,
had to.
exactly. It's like, oh God.
Oh, spring break. Man, what a time.
Yeah. Old spring breaks. I only went on 2 like real spring breaks.
Same. I
Yeah.
did the cruise sophomore year with the old crew of our fraternity, the
Yeah.
founding boys. And I did the PuNtA CaNaaaaa one, my
Yeah.
grad year.
Yeah, dude, Myrtle Beach for me sophomore year.
Ooh.
Which, oh my goodness, what a ratchet time that was. And ratchet was precisely the word that I want to
I want to hear
use.
more Myrtle Beach stories. These haven't come up yet on the cast.
Yeah, so I was wrestling because wrestling nationals always like rolls right into spring break. So John, our friend of the podcast, previous guest, we had been wrestling, and so we eventually go to the airport in Florida and then fly directly to Myrtle Beach to like meet up with everyone and have our boy pick us up. And so we get there, and the like apartment house thing that we have is 3 floors.
All to you?
Yeah, all for like our group.
How big's the group?
18 guys.
Just guys went?
Yeah, this was just guys in our fraternity. And so it was 18 guys, but there were only like really 16 beds. And so me and John got the pull-out beds in the living room. And so
that's right, where you want to be for the action.
It's not where you want to be at all, where you're trying to sleep. And so I'm like, all right, whatever, this is fine. It turns out the whole bed rule was pretty lax. Like once you passed out
it's
somewhere,
just you claimed it.
Yeah, like that night, like that was your bed if you fell asleep somewhere.
Ooh, I probably would have picked like a crappy room and then defended that. Like, yep, this is mine. Leave my.
So it was, well, the way the beds were set up was like there was one master bedroom with like a king. There was one room with 2 doubles, and then the rest of the beds
was
were
that
all
Jason,
bunk
the
beds.
master?
Jason and his boy were in the master, yeah, because they kind of organized the entire thing. So it's like, yeah, you guys can have that. That makes sense. But yeah, so what was some of the stuff that happened down there?
You were eating dry ramen with peanut butter on it?
Oh yeah, how, because it was Ratchet, dude. So one thing, a bunch of dumb college kids were like going to this thing that we assume is basically a hotel, but it's really just an apartment that you rent for a week. So no toilet paper. That caught us off guard. So we had to.
You had dudes crapping before you were even in the door, huh?
Yeah, and so
Oh,
that was one thing. But then also, yeah, just running out of food. I remember towards the end, just surviving on peanut butter and dry Cheerios. And also, I remember.
Did you eat them separately or like stir peanut butter into Cheerios?
Yeah, stirred them all up together. Yeah, of course. It was my milk, was the peanut butter. And so, yeah, exactly.
That's the opposite of cereal lube.
Yeah, and just from sun up to sundown, just a
Cheerios.
severe lack of sobriety. I remember I would go to McDonald's for their McPick 2, like the $5 Pick 2 things. Like every day I would get that. And I remember when I got home,
so
my
good for
parents
you.
were very concerned. They were like, "Are you eating well at school?" And to be honest, I was. Like the dining hall was amazing. You know, it was. They just had like every food group all the time. I was like, "Yeah, I'm eating great." They're like, "Because we saw that you went to McDonald's every day for a week on your debit card." So, oh no, Mom, that was Spring Break. Different time, different Steve.
I left that man behind.
Yeah, but oh my goodness, yeah, there was some Ratchet stuff just because we were.
What stories are you comfortable sharing on the podcast?
That's the thing. I don't know.
You got to do fake names. Pick a story that doesn't involve you at all and just do fake names.
No, the stories involving me are the best.
All right, well then involve yourself, motherfucker.
I was such a dickhead, but
we mark these as explicit. It's fine.
That's true. All right, have
you heard some of the like Jim Norton talking about his sexual preferences with transsexual women? He gets very explicit on podcasts. This will not be close to what is out there on the internet.
Jim Norton is not an engineer.
I guess you're going into comedy, bud.
Yeah. So anyway, we're at this. Every night we went to like a different like bar or club or whatever, and they were all and they were all 18 plus. So I could get in because I was 19 at the time, and we go to this one, and it was a paint party, where they're literally just like squirting paint all over the crowd and stuff like the whole night. It was so wild. And so I start like dancing with this girl or whatever, and then she
has to go home to give her kids a bedtime snack.
No. So her friends come up to her, and they're like, "Oh, we're trying to leave. We're trying to head out." And they're like, "What are you doing? Like, come with us." And then she just turns around and goes, "We fucking tonight?" And you know, me, Mr. Suave cool guy, I was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever." Of course, I was like, yeah, sure." Yeah, exactly. And she's like, "No, I'm gonna stay here," and like to her friends, and they're like, "Okay, peace." They just leave her. They don't know me. And so then we get our one guy, like our one taxi driver guy. He just had this big ass van.
John's version of this story with the girl when he was out with his friends and he brought her back. Were you that level of gentleman? He told that story a couple episodes ago on the podcast.
That's right. I was not
Remember?
that bad.
You didn't pass your number and address out to her friends. You didn't
I don't think I'll ever
take
be
down their
that.
license plate, give them your...
Oh, that! I thought, oh my goodness. That's another John story about Myrtle Beach, but if he
No,
comes
this
back on
wasn't
the
in Myrtle
podcast,
Beach.
yeah,
this was the one John told a few episodes ago. If you haven't heard, go check it out.
No, I didn't do all of that because that's a lot of extra effort, and she and everybody already seemed very cool. So I was like, I'll be fine. So then she comes back with us in our with our taxi guy, who's just a van that I guess the travel agency hired. And so it's literally her stuffed into this big ass white van with I don't know, 12 guys who she's never met before.
Oh my goodness. This girl has a better story than you do.
And so we're literally, we're all just talking to her.
Well, at least it's all SIG-EP guys, so you're all interesting and cool.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what 12 of you were in that van, but I bet it was a fun and welcoming conversation.
Yeah. They were also making fun of her a bunch for her name, but I can't give that out. So.
Well,
but yeah,
boys will be boys.
Yeah,
friendly.
Exactly.
They mean well.
It was a good back and forth. I thought everyone was charmed by the interaction, and so, but yeah, so we get back, whatever, taking a shower, and then I'm like,
oh, whatever means sex in this scenario.
Well, here's the thing.
Shower before
is that, as I said before, my bed was the pull-out bed in the living room where everyone was still hanging out post-game.
So you went for it.
We are wet and naked. That's not an option. And so I'm literally I remember before I went into the shower, I was texting the group chat that we all had. And they were
SOS.
Yeah. And
someone give me a bed.
Yeah, I was like, guys, what do I do? What do I do? And literally
fishing for someone to say, use mine.
Well, close. Pretty much unanimously, everybody told me to use one specific person's bed. And it was one of the two guys in the room with the doubles. So it wasn't in a bunk room where there would be other people. I was like, oh, that's safe. I'm not going to ruin the entire master bed. But I'm also not going to go into a room with 4 different twin-size beds that people need to sleep. So I was like, I think that the room with the 2 doubles sounds right. And also I'm drunk, and also everyone's telling me to do it. So fuck it, here I go. And I don't know if you know who this person is.
Can you give me a rhymes with or mouth it at me loudly or quietly? We can keep that one secret from the listeners, but I want to know.
Rhymes with robot. And so
I get it.
Yeah, okay. And so we're right there on that bed. It turns out the shower we took was not quite effective because wet people that just came from a paint party tend to make quite a mess unless they are properly cleaned. And so
it was a paint party.
There was just on this dude's sheets just a big wet purple
Picasso.
Patch. Yeah, just oh god. He talked to me about that later. He's like, "Hey, so did you do that in my bed?" And I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry."
I left tracks.
I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm sorry." That was all I had to. That was all I could say. I was just. He's like, and then, but he comes back in with, "What made you think it was a good idea to do?" Or no, what made you think it was okay to do that?
Wow.
Yeah, and I'm just
That's a spot on ouch.
I was just like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
You got me.
I'm really sorry. But then everyone else reassured me, dude, that's what Spring Break is all about. And I was like, you know what? You guys are right.
Pull some fun with the boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Screw the robot.
Yeah, who needs hard boundaries? It's Spring Break. Yeah.
Remember, it's not gay if you're only cuddling with your homies.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other spring break that I went on was the one that you said, PuNtA CaNaaaaa. That was so much fun.
That was ups and downs, the highest highs and some pretty low lows.
Dude, I got pretty gone one night, and part of that was because I hadn't. It was the first night we were there, or I was there.
You got there, third night for us.
Because I was again coming from nationals. I had been coaching. And what I had did was set up my flight super early. And so I literally just drank all night long and then left the hotel at probably 3:30 a.m. like with all my bags, like still like pretty drunk, woozy, sleep deprived, get on the plane, and like that's how I start my trip over to PuNtA CaNaaaaa. And so I slept for the first plane ride, not really on the second one. And then as soon as I get there, everyone's like, "Yo, Steve, get him drinks."
Lost our minds.
All that kind of
I
stuff.
remember
So
that. I was freaking out.
It was just sleep deprived me, probably still pretty hungover, pedal to the metal as soon as I get there, and then
unlimited, all you could drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Already paid for.
And then we go out to this club like late at night, and dude, I was
What club night was that? What outing was that? Was that the cave?
Bongo.
Oh, Coco Bongo. That was a wild one.
So cool, but
what a show.
Yeah.
Definitely go see it, folks. I think there's some in multiple places.
Yeah, there's a couple around.
Coco Bongo is sick.
Yeah, and I was just a zombie on my feet at that point. That was such a marathon of no favors to my body.
You owe it Pilates and a juice cleanse for that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. I think that it will be fun to do a trip similar to that again. Whether it's with like 6 of our guy friends from college or you, me, and spouses in 8 years. I think it'll be fun to do like an all-inclusive. There's like programming the whole time. I wouldn't mind doing like a resort type thing once more.
Yeah.
Like an every so often, because for the most part, I'd rather hike. I would rather see new places. I'd rather experience new cultures and go couch surf and stay in hostels. But every now and then, it's very fun to be like, okay, here are the hard boundaries around the walls of the resort, and everything else is playtime and taken care of.
Yeah, exactly. Here's your playground.
You can turn off like so many of the settings that you usually have to operate with.
Yeah.
Like thinking about where you're going to go, bringing money and IDs. Like you have like a card and your friends. And that's it.
Oh man, that's so true.
And it's very fun to unplug from all of those conscious things because you really are like, if we were going down to the pool bar to have a drink, the only like 3 things circulating in my brain are, ooh, my girlfriend looks good. Ooh, I wonder if Webb's already down here. Ooh, I wonder if they have the strawberry daiquiri and stuff. Like, there's nothing else you're thinking about because you don't have to.
It is purely a time to follow your vices.
Also that.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a fun one.
Yeah.
I would do that one again. Even a shorter one. I would maybe do that for, like, 4 days or something.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's pretty much how long I was there, and I still thought I had a great time.
I think, like a 4-day one would be fun. Like a Thursday into Sunday and then come back late as shit. That's
the thing about those spring break trips specifically, though, is that, like...
We shut that one down. They stopped running it the year after us.
Oh, God. Yeah, not that surprised. But they must have had worse than us. But...
It wasn't just us.
The thing is, like, those kind of trips are... Every day you have, like... just spring break party planned. Like, dude, that last day in PuNtA CaNaaaaa at that outdoor bar with, like, the big pool, and we had our own, like, cabana.
That was insane. That was different from anything else I'd, done. Yeah, exactly. Just, like, the lazy river going around the whole outside. And, like, a DJ. Oh, my God. And just people in bathing suits dancing. It was that essential spring break nirvana that you're like pure frivolous highs.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was such a good time.
You're just dancing with your friends.
Oh my God, that was such a good time.
Yeah.
Let's just take a moment to revel in that memory.
Truly.
Oh, good bros, good people, good times.
Absolutely. The thing is, though, could I ever do that again? I mean, not a college one, obviously.
I don't think it would be the same way, but yeah, something similar. I think if you're with the right group, like, honestly, if you're there with a good relationship, that could be very, very fun.
That's
including
true.
With friends.
That's very true.
And if you're there not in a relationship, there are tons of other people of every gender also there not in a relationship. So there can still be that kind of like fun, flirty aspect that Spring Break College had. You can just have big boy sized cups and less stupidity. No one falls off banisters or anything crazy like that.
So when we would go to those bars and stuff, do you think that was pretty much all random college kids on spring break?
It was majority, especially during that season.
There were definitely
locals, no. But it's all vacation.
Yeah, true.
It was a closed resort, yeah, for sure no locals. But
but I'm saying for the bars and stuff that we went out to at night. And like,
oh no, for sure there was.
And like the clubs and stuff.
Like Coco Bongo for sure had a mix of like probably some locals.
That place for the people at home listening, just like look up pictures of this place, Coco Bongo.
It's
you
like
are in
a play,
sea of
an
people.
aerial acrobatics thing, a
Yeah.
whole spectacle, crazy performances and dancers, and it's very crowd interactive and packed full of people for sure against some fire codes. It was so fun.
Someone kind of got sexually harassed as a part of the show in the audience, but other than that, it was super cool.
I remember that.
That was a weird part of it. You know, you're overseas, one in Rome. I guess you kind of brush it off, but other than that, super cool.
Yeah, there's a little bit different regulations.
Yeah, exactly.
Down there.
They play a little loose and fast with those rules.
And hips.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, when everyone was dressed like 300 Spartans and they start lowering themselves from the ceiling with their yoga ribbons, whatever those things are called.
Yeah, the acro yoga, like
aerial, yeah, whatever that is.
That was sick.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool. Well done. I definitely recommend that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, there's versions like that, and there's also tons of clever entrepreneurs out there that are willing to cash in on 27-year-olds that want to do that fun experience with their friend group.
Yeah.
So there's cruises and retreats and festivals for that also.
Festivals is the equivalent.
Well, that's the next one. I hope stuff's open by late summer. I want to go to an August festival with you.
Festivals is definitely like the more adult equivalent, I would think.
All these trips and festivals and comedy shows that we were planning to do got canceled. So
yeah, true.
Bank up some of that income and we can do a trip when the world opens.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah.
Bank up some vacation days and income.
Mm-hmm.
So many places to choose between. And I'm for sure willing to help you pick.
Yeah.
We can lay out the options. We can discuss things, maybe toss the idea around. But I think I've done at least a tiny bit more traveling than you, and it feels like I'm trying to pull you to do a trip with me. Mm-hmm. So at least majority, this is going to be on your whims.
Gotcha.
Even if you don't want to make the choices, I'll assist, but like you're going to drive that show.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Maybe we could even talk about it on an episode of A Couple of Fellas.
Probably not.